Welcome into the Great League Fantasy Football League. This is a quick rundown, recap of Week 3, and a quick preview of Week 4. I am here with the actual highest scorer of the week and the winner of $20, Sir Paddington, Nick Wilberding. Thank you for joining us, and happy to have you here. Quickly, before we get into the recap, how did you score 197 points? And for our listeners, we do have an extra flex player, so there's one extra player on there. So I know you're seeing these high scores. We have one extra player, but still, 197 is impressive.
Yeah, well, first of all, thank you for having me, Wyatt. I think it just comes down to drafting and getting the people that actually score rather than the ones that could score, like Hurts and McCaffrey, Adams. So, and also just good management. But it's Week 3, back-to-back highest scorer, but focus on next week.
You were back-to-back?
Back-to-back.
Wow, that's impressive. Well, I have your matchup pulled up on my screen. You played Island Boy, and you still scored 197. He was the week lowest score at 115.
And he got look, I had some high-scoring players too, but Keenan Allen had 41 points. That doesn't say he has a great week with 25 points. Adrian, come on, man.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just looking at yours. Jalen Hurts, 24 points. Christian McCaffrey, once again, the highest running back. Well, he was not the highest running back, but he's the highest average running back at 23. Pollard, 17. Devontae Adams at 39. Mari Cooper, they didn't guard him in that game, 22. Hawk, 11. Kenneth Walker, 31. Like, you just got loaded here. Your lowest score was Justin Tucker, who easily could have, come put up 20 points. But, yeah, it's a hell of a week. Adrian's team struggled a little bit. Najee Harris sucked. His running back Kelly, terrible.
I don't even know who Kelly is.
He's Eckler's backup, but Eckler was still out. Waller had four points. AJ Dillon had 4 points. As you said, the 41 points from Keenan Allen helped him to not score 90 points,
right?
80 points. So pretty impressive. Really good win there. You are now in the rankings. You are second based on record, but the points scored, you are actually first by quite a margin. I believe you are at 481, which is heads over heel everyone else. Anything else on that matchup?
No, I think we're good there. It's same old on my end. And I think just looking at Adrian's team, Najee Harris is upsettingly bad, and it says off roster here. Maybe he got rid of. Was that part of the trade? I think
it was part of the trade. Yes,
okay.
It was part of the trade.
Whoever got him got fucked, but we'll move on.
Okay, we will go to myself, who I did fall to 1-2 against the best player or best record in the league. That is Mr. Gojo Go, aka the Mexican, aka Chavez. Disappointed. My quarterback Trevor Lawrence. I have a question about him later in the show, but he sucks, man.
Sure.
And they also lost to Houston, which is terrible. Josh Jacobs has also sucked this year. James Conner, actually not bad. Justin Jefferson is the best wide receiver in the league. Amon-Ra gets banged up every week, but still scores. Hunter Henry, believe it or not, before last week was tight end number 3. He sucked, 3 points. Calvin Ridley, because of his quarterback, sucked. Mike Evans is wide receiver 2, which is unreal. So, but he was 16 points. Carlson's fine. Cleveland defense is solid. But, my quarterback play right now is killing me. And my second overall draft pick, Josh Jacobs, has sucked for 3 weeks. Not very pleased with him at all. Alex's team, on the other hand, Jared Goff,
Before we move on to his team, so you've got Tua on the bench. Is he getting the start next week?
So that's a question I got. I got that at the end here. Yeah, okay. I got a big question for T-Law or Tua. So we'll bring that up in a sec. But great question. Chavez, Goff, fine. Stevenson actually sucked. DeAndre Swift, I knew as soon as a player ever leaves Detroit, they have the best career known to man. So good for Swift, I guess. After getting 1 carry week 1, he's had back-to-back, I think, 15-plus point weeks. So, Swift not bad. Tyreek Hill is, I think, the best scoring wide receiver in the league. Diggs is phenomenal. Ingram's fine. Olave. Alex has a really good team. There's a reason he's number 1 in the rankings. We'll get to that rankings shortly. But, I didn't perform well. My top players did not play well, and it's hard to win when that doesn't happen.
Yeah, I think Alex has a solid team. I think he's kind of in a similar position with you. Like Goff is not a QB1 as much as I love the guy, not QB1. That also says off roster. Maybe he's gone, but he's got Burrow on the bench, who I think will turn it around. So he should be all right, and Richardson for that matter. So
yeah, that's true.
He's got three quarterbacks.
He's got 3 quarterbacks. Next, believe it or not, Han Schlong I misspoke earlier, but he was the lowest scorer for the past 2 weeks. Ended up scoring 173 this week, blowing expectations out of the water. I know Sleeper gives some updates of like teams that overachieved, and I think Liam's was up there for the biggest overachieving team. Yeah, he has a solid squad. It really helped with 42 points for most start.
Yep.
And that's kind of, I mean, his kicker and defense had 18 and 14 points. Besides that, like Addison sucked, Garrett Wilson sucked, Mark Andrews sucked, and Kyrene Williams sucked. So, I mean, great win, Liam. But, I mean, your kicker and your defense were your 4th and 5th highest scorers. Like, that's not going to keep happening.
No. But, win's a win. I will say, if I had to compliment something, his bench looks decent. 16 out of Miles Sanders, 14 basically out of Dameon Pierce, 16 out of Tutu Atwell. So, and 13 and a half out of Kittle. So there's
he's probably going to make some pretty big starting lineup moves this week. I would think. Yeah. So he has the guys on the team. He has the tough job of managing them now. So we'll see what happens there. He beat long snappers. Really tough from Derrick Henry. I had him in another league, 2 points out of the king. He is terrible. CeeDee Lamb also sucked. Brian Robinson. I can't believe you're starting Brian Robinson in this league. It just shows how, I guess, you're just not that deep. But yeah, Brian, I mean, look at his bench too, though.
Yeah. The bench,
you might be in some problems here.
Bench looks weak. Yeah.
Oh boy, yeah. I mean, not a deep team. Aaron Jones coming back will help, but you should. And Zach Moss, I guess, played really well. But yeah, I mean, I can't believe you're starting some of those players in an 8-man league. But
is Aaron Jones going to be back? I didn't know he was hurt. Is he going to be back Thursday?
I think he's still quite. He had a pretty bad hamstring week 1.
And Watson. God, I'd hope they're out. Anyway.
Yeah.
Very average team. I think we're looking. What is his record? He's 1-2. Yeah. Unless Derrick Henry turns it around. Now, Lamar and Derrick as your QB1, RB1's not terrible on paper, but
it's not a deep team. I would expect a deeper team or deeper league in an 8-man team. And finally, the last matchup: Little's the Cat versus Team JC, Johnny Kotz. Johnny squeaks by, or actually wins this one pretty easily, 158 to 127. Just looking at Johnny's team quickly, Justin Fields, I don't know what his deal is this year. He's not the greatest. He's not going to throw. His only time he's going to get points is running, and obviously he can do that a lot, but I'm just worried that he's going to either get injured or benched. So not great. Madison had a pretty good week. Rashad White sucked. Debo played pretty well. Sam Laporta, high-scoring tight end. That was good to see. But yeah, I mean, Johnny's team as well. Defense had 33 points on defense, 15 points from the kicker. Yeah, I mean, then he had a couple guys. Devontae Smith sucked. Tyler Lockett sucked. And Rashad White sucked. So very similar to Liam's team. Defense and kicker kind of carried the conversation on that side. And Team JC's bench, not great. Saquon's out. Khalil Herbert, you should probably just drop. Josh Reynolds didn't play. Yeah, I mean, great win. I'm not trying to diss any teams, but I think you got a little lucky with 48 points out of your kicker and defense there. Anything on that?
Yeah,
I'm just going for throats here. I'm going for throats.
Yeah, I'm going for throats. I think my overall impression, I know we're going to do kind of a recap on this trade, is I see a little bit of maybe panic out of Cam. He starts 2-0, loses this week, and now 3 people on his starting roster with – now, granted, Mike Williams is a bit of a different story, but with Bijan Robinson and Breece Hall off the starting lineup after a pretty good start, seems – are we making moves to make moves? Or are we,
he got worried with the Mike Williams possibly and just tried to jump ship, and 2 bad weeks, I guess, or a bad week from Brees and Bijan. I guess he's a no funny business manager. If you have 1 bad week, you're on the trading block. I respect it, but also you started 2-0. I thought it was a little early to get to sell ship, but
yeah, I agree. I know you're going to pull up the recap on some of the stats. I think my impression of this week is, and it's in one of these stats here. There wasn't a close match this weekend.
No.
Like the closest match I think was over 20-point difference. So I think there might be some of that separation. Now it's hard to say that when, Hanlon won with a kicker, really, but you might be seeing some separation from some of the top teams versus the bottom, I think.
Yeah. And along the lines of that, we'll quickly point out the standings. Chavez still leads at 3-0. You are in second place currently at 2-1, tied with Cam at 2-1. And then the rest of the league is at 1-2. So kind of everyone's still in striking zone right now. We don't have an 0-3 team, which is usually that's what happens. There's at least an 0-3 team come week 3. But yeah, everyone has a win under their belt. And Alex is the only team without a loss. So again, we're still kind of tight here. But yeah, you were right. That scorecard, not very many close matchups. So I expect it to be a little closer this week. But, and I mean, as the season progresses, we're also going to have teams pull away. I think you are in position to pull away just based on your pure offensive power. I mean, you have 46 points more than, sorry, that's wrong. 36 points scored more than anyone else in the league. Alex's team, if you really want to point out and cut throats, Alex's team, yes, is 3-0, but 343 points allowed. And I know you can't judge who the other team starts, but that is 51 less than the next highest. So obviously I'm not going to put that against you, but how much of that is kind of luck, Yeah,
it's a 16-week league, I think. 16, 15, something like that.
Yeah.
I think it'll balance out, but I mentioned that I think in the group chat last week. That's not going to hold up.
Yeah, luck will come back and bite you in the butt. But yeah, quickly the players of the week. Obviously, the team of the week was Nick. The loser of the week was Island Boy, and we look forward to his shotgun. Unfortunately, it's not going to be on the show this week, but hopefully in weeks to come we will have a shotgun on the show. Players of the week quarterback was Lamar on whose team is that? On Richter's team. Mostert, which was on Hanlon's team for running back. Wide receiver was Keenan Allen on Island Boy's team. Laporta as a tight end of the week on Johnny's team. McPherson, kicker of the week on Hanlon. Defense was the Bills on Johnny's team. Now this is my favorite category, the best bench players, which means the worst manager, and I am on there twice. I had Tua on the bench, and I had Sutton on the bench, Cortland Sutton on the bench at wide receiver. Chavez had Ford on the bench at running back for the Browns. Then Hanlon did have Kittle on the bench for tight end. Just tough manager moves on my end. And then that does, before we get into that trade, let's get into the trade talk first.
Well, one comment I wanted to make, not to keep patting myself, but I did not have one player on player of the week. Whether it was me or someone else, 197 points and not one of your position players that was the top in their position is
that's consistency.
Unlucky. Yeah, well, but I don't think it was even that close. I guess maybe the wide receiver it was with Devontae Adams, but besides that, wasn't close.
Couple big injury news and suspension news. Alvin Kamara, who is on my squad, does return for week 4. I think he's projected like a 15.5 points. I'm debating on putting him in the lineup. We will see what I do with quarterback there. And then Mike Williams, as we just talked about, Cam's team is out for the year with after scoring 30-something points, out for the year with an ACL. So that's a tough loss for any team, but a tough loss for Cam's especially. Then let's get into that little 2-teamer trade.
Yeah.
Between Cam and Adrian and the Island Boy. So Cam sent Brees Hall, Bijan, and a 3rd rounder next year. Again, this is a keeper league. 3rd rounder next year. And he received DeAndre Hopkins, his name? Moore from the Bears. I forget his DJ Moore. and Najee Harris, and a 2024 first rounder.
The first rounder, I guess, makes up for it. DeAndre Hopkins, I feel like I'm going to probably eat my words. I don't know what his stats are. I feel like I haven't heard his name all year. Moore is never going to catch a ball because he's got Justin Fields throwing it to him. And Najee Harris looks like he's running in mud. Like, what is this trade? And look, Cam's much better at fantasy than I am, but I'm and was Bijan his first round pick? So he traded his first round pick, who appears to be one of the best running backs for the next couple of years. Why not just keep him for a first round pick next year when Bijan Robinson, you'll probably fucking redraft him next year. I mean, what's the point?
Right. Yeah. And I know Brees Hall had a bad week. The Jets are a bad organization now. They don't have any pass, so teams are going to focus on the run. I get it, but again, it's week 3, and you sold your future in my mind. Yeah. You're receiving Hopkins, Moore, and Najee. Those guys are going to be really tough to start in any week.
And it's not even that Brees Hall kind of shit. So okay, but Bijan Robinson, and a 3rd round pick in an 8-person league, is a top 24 pick. Obviously, there's going to be people keeping their own guys, so it's a little bit watered down or whatever. But it's not like a 3rd round pick is nothing,
right?
So I don't know. I think I'm probably going to hear it, but I think Adrian fleeced Cam here.
I agree with that. So yeah, so that was the big news in the league. We'll probably have some more trades coming up in the next couple weeks. Quickly getting into week 4 before we close this out. A couple of the matchups. I will be against Cam this week. I'm 6th overall versus Cam was 3rd overall. I'm interested to see this new acquired team that he's going to try to build with a bunch of scrubs. So hopefully I can take the victory there. I got to manage a little bit better. The number 1 team and number 4 team, this is our highest matchup. That is Chavez versus Kotz. That'll be a good one to watch. See if Chavez can continue the luck, I'm going to call it. Paddington, you are up against Hanlon. So this is an interesting one because the 2 highest scorers of this week are now facing off in week 4. So we'll see if you guys can continue scoring at will. So you have any quick update on that game? Any expectations from you? Any guarantees?
No guarantees. I think we're going to see, who the better team is, who the more consistent team is probably the answer. I think the only thing on Liam's side that I'm thinking about is he did have a lot of roster moves. I saw he added, is it Archain? What's his name? From
A-Chain, yeah.
A-Chain from Miami. So maybe there's something more than that meets the eye, I guess. But I think I plan to have another just consistent week. I don't think I'm going for 197 again. Might not even get the 161 I'm predicted, but I think it's still a comfortable win over Hanlon.
Yeah, then 161 is quite a bit of points. I haven't looked at the predicted scores yet. And then that final matchup, probably the worst one, Island Boy versus Long Snappers. That's 8 seed versus the 5 seed. So a couple interesting matchups this week. Quickly on the projected scores, yeah, you are by far the highest at 161. By far, the second highest is 149 out of Long Snappers, and then 146 out of Chavez, 145 out of Island Boy. I need to figure out some moves. I'm at 138, which is the 3rd lowest. But yeah, a big week coming. I'm looking forward to it. Also, a big week in the NFL. We do have Lions versus the Packers tomorrow night, and I know you have a pretty hefty wager on this game.
Yeah, I'm a believer. I'm a sucker, but I'm a believer, and I think it's similar to Alex. I'd compare Alex to the Green Bay Packers right now. I think they're good. They're not great. I think the Lions are great. You got to go into Lambeau at night, early in the season, division game. But fuck, we beat them in Week 18 to prevent them from going to the playoffs, and they had fucking Aaron Rodgers at that point. So I think not only is it a win, but if it's not a win, it's a very disappointing loss, and I'm gonna want some kneecaps if they don't walk out of there. So I've got I think 240 on the money line to win 200, and then I placed a $50 wager today on the up 7 for them to win again. So it all comes down tomorrow.
Yeah, go Lions. And then this another exciting game, Miami at Buffalo. Buffalo is -2.5. This comes to my question of who I'm going to start here. So I got T-Law, Trevor Lawrence, and then you have to remember this. I have Trevor Lawrence and Calvin Ridley, so it's kind of a 1-2 punch. They both suck last week, probably the reason I lost. So if I do start Trevor Lawrence, I'm going to start Calvin Ridley. And the Jags are playing the Falcons, so definitely a very winnable game for Jacksonville, but we thought that last week. Nothing crazy in Atlanta's defense. And then we got Tua over here at Buffalo. Tua's unreal. Wide receivers are unreal. He's putting up some stupid points, but he's playing Buffalo, who the last 2 weeks has had a really good defense. I think they've given up 10 and 9 points. So, and if I start Tua, I'm going to bench Ridley as well. So, what are your? I mean, I'm kind of honestly leaning Tua. I'm sick of Trevor Lawrence scored 11 points and then 15 points. I'm sick of him. I'm sick of him. He had a great week 1, and Ridley had a great week 1. But I feel like if I take Tua, he's going to suck this week.
I was hoping the weather was going to answer the question for you, but it's a perfect 77 degrees and sunny in Buffalo on Sunday. So don't let that factor into it. Here's the deal. You start Tua this week after a huge week 3, and he doesn't go off, you look like an idiot. If you don't play him and you're like, it's put up 70 points, how did you not play him? You look like an idiot. So it's a lose-lose. I have faith in Trevor Lawrence as a quarterback in the NFL. I don't know if I have faith in him as a QB1 in an 8-person fantasy league. So I would go with Tua. He's got too many weapons. Could get concussed, but I think that's a risk you're going to have to take. And one of my favorite players, which is people are going to call me out for this. I love what's his name, Tremaine Edmonds, on the linebacker for Buffalo. I think he's a fucking beast, and he's going to be a problem for them. And I think it's like Colorado is the fantasy over, Yeah. So it's still the Dolphins. But maybe is Waddle back? Maybe that factors in. Is he going to be?
I don't know. I haven't looked. I don't even know Waddle was out last week, to be honest.
Obviously, neither did I. In the other league, I did not. I started it. So,
yeah. So I mean, my thought process right now, I'm probably going to start Tua, which means I'm going to bench Ridley as well, and I'm going to maybe give Kamara a shot, which is risky.
You have to.
Risky his first game back. He didn't start practicing until today, because when he's suspended, he's not allowed to practice. But again, he's a veteran in the league. He's been in the Saints for what, 10 years? Probably not that, 7 years. So I think I might give him a shot. I might go for Tua. I could look like an idiot. T-Law and Ridley could go for 40, but I'm sick of T-Law. So that's a sneak peek of my roster move. Can make adjustments accordingly. Then the final game, a big AFC North game, Baltimore versus Cleveland. Cleveland's -3. That should be an exciting game. All the AFC North games are exciting. So that's
that game?
I think Sunday. I'm not sure.
That should be prime time. I think the Jets have fucking prime time, like Sunday versus the Chiefs, which I guess the Chiefs are a fun team to watch in prime time. But look what they did to Chicago. Let me quickly
check. Yeah, they're at 1:00 on Sunday.
That should be the prime time game.
Yeah, Browns are getting 3 points at home. So that over-under's at 40.5. So that's probably going to be a defensive battle. Baltimore, we all know, lost last week.
At home after Baltimore lost. They're giving or getting?
The Browns are at home. Browns are getting 3 points.
They're +3?
Browns are giving 3 points. Browns are -3.
Okay, that makes more sense. I was going to say, Lamar coming off of a loss. And
yeah.
Oof.
That's I mean, all those AFC North games are crazy. So, but yeah, that's all I got. You got anything before we wrap up the show here?
No, I think as a first timer, it was good. Congratulations on your marriage and your honeymoon.
Thank you. Thank you.
I look forward to the other league members listening to this and giving their criticism. I embrace it and I expect it. So, excited to hear thoughts. But thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks for joining. we'll do this weekly. Maybe have a couple more guests. Hopefully, we'll get a shotgun on the show, and we'll try to keep it somewhat minimal in time spent. I know no one wants to watch a 30-minute show, so we'll work on that for the future. But again, just guys sitting around talking football. Hopefully, you enjoyed it, and good luck to all this week. Except you, Cam. You're a coward and a pussy. We'll see you guys later.